This part I want to hoe. Maybe make a small vegetable patch here because I want to make a deck back along this wall, maybe utilizing those bricks, the wall behind me, make a deck because the view here is really nice and there's a doorway by the annex leading back here, so it's quite good. And then maybe here on this flat area make a small vegetable patch, some cucumbers or whatever. And then I have to figure out what to do to cover the ground so I don't have to weed it all the time. And a lot of this stuff just has to be hoed up. I made a big mistake today watching the news and YouTube, and it's amazing how complicated this corona thing is. All these protests against lockdowns, against masks, and then all these other government officials and medical people and virologists and whatever saying we have to do that. Variants coming along. Obviously, if no one cooperates, then there'll be lots and lots of variants. Then you can just forget about controlling it at all and just let it go. Obviously, there's economic considerations. If we invested more money in healthcare rather than nuclear bombs, we'd have the capacity to deal with people. If it wasn't a profits first mentality, then we could probably find cheaper, effective treatments that would work, keep people from dying, keep people from being hospitalized, which is the main thing. The whole thing is about hospital capacity, right? You want to overload them. And then you have life extension. People want to live forever, and carrying capacity of the earth, total life cycle assessment. So what are you going to do when everyone lives to be 120 and there's 1 billion people on the planet, and you know, whatever. I mean, God, if we can dodge all the multipolar traps, in other words, the Russians are going to have their hypersonic nuclear warhead delivery systems, so we have to have ours, otherwise they're going to get us. We can't cooperate. People in Marseille are all pissed off at the lockdown, so everyone's saying to hell with it, we're not going to do it. And obviously, if you have a huge number of people that don't want to cooperate with lockdowns or mask wearing or social distancing or contact tracing, any of these mitigation efforts, then you can't control it. There aren't enough people behaving. And, you know, global culture is like me too and me first, and I want my Amazon delivery by tomorrow. And, you know, everything's instant gratification and culture wars. So what do we don't really care, you know, about these deep, complex issues. You know, what do we really have to do to sort this out? And then we have different economic growth models that affect this corona thing as well. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy nut, but sometimes I wonder, you know, we're never going to get it right. Yeah, the economic policy considerations, the powers that be, so to speak, you know. Do people really have any choice about what happens? So anyway, the bottom line is, if people aren't going to cooperate, enough people around the world, because this is a global pandemic, doing something that everyone can agree on might help, then we're more or less, you know, doomed to failure in any efforts. Oh well, Maybe it doesn't matter, you know? Meanwhile, you can't get the vaccine out fast enough, and some people don't want to take a vaccine because they think it's bad. All the conspiracy theories and anti-vaxxers. And then, again, it's like, if you're rich, you've got it. If you're not, you don't. So, you know, people want to disparage Chinese vaccines and Russian vaccines because they're Chinese, they're Russian. But I don't think the US or the UK or France is going to give vaccine away to African countries and South American countries that don't have the money to buy vaccines made in wealthy countries, wealthy economies. So it's so complicated. And, you know, people say, you don't understand the biology. Biology is complex. And if you're a biologist, you don't understand. Well, to be a biologist, a virologist, you have to be a biologist, right? I mean, there's biology and virology. The idea that these different domains can't work together or are unaware of one another, totally ignorant. I only study viruses. I don't know anything about the broader aspects of immune systems and biology in general, you know, how life works. That's silly. Anyway, all these arguments are fallacious and ridiculous, but they're so easy to fall into because they can be logical and rational arguments and still be wrong. But if anyone's thinking about it at all, you know, they're gonna think about it based on their own prejudices and beliefs. So, what are you gonna do? Anyway, this is what you do in the morning for a while. You come out here and hoe to get these weeds up, and then you get to rake, which is really fun. Then you get to move all that raked stuff into a pile over there. Call it a compost pile. Not yet, but a pile of weeds. And once this whole place is cleared, I have to level out this area here where I want to put the deck. Fix the door over there. Make a nice platform to look at the view and plant some vegetables here by the house. The back land is going to take a year or two to really get properly ready. So every day you just do a little bit, and you know, it's a lot of fun. Should have worn gloves. That was stupid. Band-Aid, no gloves. Anyway, whatever. Rambling while hoeing. Not that kind of hoeing. And that was a bad joke, sorry. Yeah, so anyway, thanks for having a look, and Buliam T out.